Few years ago at a Manhattan art gallery opening, I met Nathan. His jewelry designs are being featured alongside other emerging artists, and was working as a marketing consultant for the gallery, trying to bring more attention to his incredible talents. The moment our eyes met across the room, something electric passed between us. He as tall it dark curly hair that seemed perpetually toasted and eyes that sparkled it the same intensity as the gems he orchid it. Coming to stand beside me as I admired a particularly intricate silver and sapphire necklace, he said, "That piece speaks to you." "It does," I admitted. The eye the light catches into hidden facets is remarkable. He smiled and I noticed the slight dimple in his left cheek. "Most people miss those. I target them specifically to create secret little moments that only reveal themselves at certain angles. That as Nathan in a nutshell. He created beauty in hidden depths, little secrets that revealed themselves only with time and attention. Our relationship developed the same way. Had started as casual coffee meetings to discuss marketing his jewelry line deepened into long walks through the city, late-night conversations about art and life, and eventually an undeniable love that felt both surprising and inevitable. Nathan as not just any jewelry designer. By the time I met he as already building a reputation for unique, emotionally resonant pieces that told stories. Celebrities sought him out for statement pieces, but his real passion as creating engagement rings and etching bands. He believed that jewelry worn to symbolize love's hold be as unique as the relationship it represented. Mass-produced rings are like greeting card sentiments, he would say. They might be pretty, but they could belong to anyone. The pieces a treat belong only to the couple they are made for. 3 years into our relationship, Nathan proposed. But in typical Nathan fashion, there is no ring in the little bow he presented to me at our favorite rooftop garden. "Oh, and to designate it you," he explained. "Oh, and it to be something I tried together, like our life will be." For 8 months, I worked on the design together. Nathan sketched countless variations, each more beautiful than the last. I selected the diamonds and sapphires together, causing stones with exceptional clarity that reflected significant dates in our relationship. The main diamond as 4 carats, ethically sourced from Canada it a unique asymmetrical cut that Nathan designated himself. Surrounding it are only tiny sapphires, only for each month of the year I made, arranged in a constellation pattern that mimicked the night sky on our first date. Valued at 590,000, the final ring as prized that I not just because of the quality of the stones, but because of Nathan's growing reputation and the completely unique design. It is not just a piece of jewelry. It is a piece of art, a labor of love, and the physical embodiment of our relationship. And then, just 2 months after he placed that ring on my finger, Nathan was gone. He ran a red light on a rainy evening. The driver had been working my horse striked. Nathan never had a chance. On a moment he was heading home to me it takeout from our favorite Thai restaurant, and the next my world collapsed. The 6 months that followed are a blur of grief. Moved through the world like a ghost, unable to process that he was really gone. I took a leave of absence from my marketing job. I could barely eat or sleep. The only thing that gave me any comfort was Nathan's ring on my finger, the last thing he had created, the physical manifestation of a future I would never have. My parents, Frank and Martha, had always been my support system. They lived in Connecticut in the same colonial house here I grew up. Dad as a retired English professor. Mom, a family therapist who still saw long-term clients. They are loving, stable, and had always been there for me. Hen Nathan died, te immediately offered their home as a refuge, applause here a cold hail it hot the pressures of New York City and the apartment filled it memories of him. Just until you find your feet again, said Heart, mom sighed, stroking Amy hair as a sobbed on their couch the day after the funeral. You can have your old room. Take as long as you need. Had did not fully appreciate then as how complicated Amy family dynamics had always been. Amy younger sister Tiffany as 4 years Amy junior and had always been the fragile only in the family. Here as prestigial and driven, Tiffany as artistic and emotional. She had been diagnosed with anxiety and depression in her teens, and Amy's parents had structured much of our family life around her needs. Growing up, Amy dance recitals missed if Tiffany as having a bad day. Amy academic achievements celebrated briefly before attention returned to Tiffany's latest thesis. O had accepted this as normal, even necessary. After all, O as the strong one. O could handle disappointment. Tiffany needed more support. This dynamics continued into adulthood. When Tiffany dropped out of college for the third time, Amy's parents dipped into their retirement fund to send her to a wellness retreat in Arizona. Hence decided she wanted to be a painter, but quickly abandoned it for pottery. They converted their garage into a studio. Hence she got engaged to her boyfriend of 8 months and then broke it off 6 later. They covered the non-refundable eating deposits it had complained. O never resented these choices. O had built Amy's own life, found success in Amy's career, and most importantly found Nathan. O could afford to be generous with Amy's parents' attention because O had so much else in Amy's life. But after Nathan died and moved back home temporarily, O began to see his patterns more clearly. Tiffany as now living in an apartment in New Haven that Amy's parents paid for hills she found herself. She rarely visited, but when she did, the focus immediately shifted to her struggles, her needs, her life, even as I was barely holding myself together. You always are able to handle things better than your sister, mom would say when occasionally expressed frustration. You're all rock, Audrey. Despite his endurance, I was grateful for Amy's parents' support during the darkest period of Amy's life. I spent Amy's days going through the motions, gradually sorting through Nathan's affairs with the help of his business partner, Marcus, and trying to figure out how Amy's future might look like it taught him. I was beginning to make plans to return to New York to face our apartment and pick up the pieces of Amy's career. I talked Amy's family as in Amy's Turner. I could not have been more wrong. I always kept Nathan's ring in a small velvet linen jewelry box on Amy's dresser when I was not wearing it in the early days after his death. I wore it constantly, clinging to his last physical connection to him. As the months passed, I started removing it for shows or when walking, but I still wore it most days, testing it on Amy's finger when I needed strength. That Tuesday morning in April started like any other. I woke up, made Amy's bed, and reached for the jewelry box to put on the ring. When I opened it, the box was empty. Amy's heart began to race immediately. I checked the bathroom, thinking perhaps I had left it there the night before. Nothing. I searched Amy's bedside table, Amy's pockets, underneath the furniture. Panics rose in Amy's throat as I tore apart Amy's bedroom looking for it after Otto's frantic minutes. I hurried downstairs to find Amy's parents having breakfast in the kitchen. The normality of the scene, Amy's father reading the newspaper and Amy's mother jutting fluid, made what was about to ask seem surreal. Have either of you seen Amy's engagement ring? It is not in Amy's jewelry box or anywhere in Amy's room. The log had passed between them as brief but unmistakable. Guilt. Amy's mother put down her knife carefully, not meeting Amy's eyes. Sit down, Audrey, Amy's father sighed, folding his newspaper with deliberate precision. Here is Amy's ring. MA voice as steady, Talmer Tanufeld. A need to discuss something it yo, MA motor began, her therapist voice sliding into place. A made a decision that I believe is for the best for our family as a whole. Cold triad pulled in MA stomach. How did you do it, MA ring? MA father cleared his throat. Your sister has been struggling significantly the past few months. Her therapist recommended an intensive treatment program. The pieces are beginning to come together in MA mind, but we could not fully accept the conclusion they are leading to a hard does that have to do it MA engagement ring. The program is in Bali, MA motor continued. It is very exclusive and has some remarkable results for cases like Tiffany's, but it is also quite expensive. I had to act quickly to secure her spot, MA father added. There is a waiting list, but they had a last-minute cancellation. I stared at them, waiting for one of them to actually say the words. Neither did. Instead, I walked to MA father's study, opened his laptop, and began searching through his emails. He followed me, protesting eagerly, but did not physically stop me. I knew his password. It had been the same for years, MA's sister's birthday. It took less than 5 minutes to find what I was looking for. An email exchange it accompanied elite jail as questions. Attached are photographs of MA ring followed by a sales agreement for 575,000. The date on the email as on 2 days ago. MA hands are shaking as looked up at MA father, who stood in the doorway looking both defiant and ashamed. You sold MA ring. It is not a question. I had no choice, Audrey, he sighed. Tiffany's condition is deteriorating. Her therapist said this could be our last chance to really help her before she did something drastic. MA motor appeared behind him. The retreat costs nearly 5,000 for 46-month program. It includes individual therapy, group therapy, holistic treatments, everything she needs to finally heal properly. I scrolled further through the emails, discovering more details. You had to provide proof of ownership to sell it the ring as mine. Nathan gave it to me. Another log passed between them. The insurance policy is in both your names, MA father explained carefully. After Nathan's death, the full value transferred to you, but the documentation is complicated. I had to sign a few forms. You forget MA's signature. Again, not a question. I could say the scanned documents right there on the screen it a signature that resembled mine, but as clearly not MA handwriting. I are going to pay you back, MA motor rushed to add. The insurance claim for Nathan's estate is still being processed. Once that comes through, I can replace the ring. Replace it. Oh, he whispered. It is the last thing Nathan treated. It is one of a kind. It cannot be replaced. Honey, you aren't even airing it most of the time, MA motor sighed, her voice gentle but dismissive. And it is not healthy to cling to these reminders. Part of the grieving process is letting go. You are not making progress, MA father added. Moving back home, putting your life on hold. Nathan old and you to move forward. The audacity of them presuming to know had Nathan old and stunned me into silence. Tiffany needs this treatment, Audrey, MA motor continued. You know how fragile she is. The doctors said this program has a 5% success rate. This could change her life. And had about MA life. I finally asked. Had about the fact that you stole from me and committed fraud. MA father straightened his shoulders. I are your parents. Everything I have ever done has been for the good of this family. Sometimes difficult decisions must be made for the greater good. Tiffany left for Bali yesterday. My mother added as if this made their actions irreversible and therefore acceptable. She is so grateful for the opportunity. She sends her love. Looked at his people, my parents, whom had trusted implicitly my entire life, and realized I did not know him at all. Or perhaps I had never wanted to say it him clearly. The depth of the betrayal was almost incomprehensible. They had not just taken a piece of jewelry. They had taken the last physical connection we had to Nathan, my autonomy, and my trust all at once. Had struck me most in that moment as not anger, thought that old coming later. It as the sudden painful clarity about my place in this family. O as not the doctor they protected. O as the doctor they used. O say as all side before alking back upstairs to my room. They followed, talking over each other's justifications and promises, but we closed the door quietly and locked it. They expected screaming tears a breakdown. I had none of those to give it him. Instead, I sat on my bed and began to plan. Alone in my childhood bedroom, the reality of what my parents had done crashed over me in awe. I curled into a ball on my bed, hand clutching the no empty space on my finger here Nathan's rings hold have been. The physical ache in my chest was so intense, I wondered if I was having a heart attack. I remembered the day Nathan had finalized the decision. I had been sitting in his studio, afternoon sunlight streaming through the large windows, touching the metal tools hanging on the wall. This needs to be perfect, he had sighed, his brow furrowed in concentration as he made minute adjustments to the digital rendering. It is not just a ring. It is our story. He had pointed out each element and its significance. The asymmetrical truth of the main diamond represented how I had found each other outside conventional paths. The onyx sapphires are arranged in the eighth constellation visible on our first date. Even the band itself is special, made from recycled platinum mixed it a tiny amount of gold from his grandmother's wedding ring. Every time you look at it, and you to remember not just my love, but all the unique moments that brought us here, he had sighed. Not that physical embodiment of our story as gone sold to a stranger. Its significance reduced to a dollar amount that could fund my sister's luxury rehab. The betrayal to deeper because it came from the people I had trusted most. Growing up, my parents had been my foundation despite their obvious favoritism toward Tiffany. I had never doubted their love for me. I had rationalized their behavior as necessary accommodation for a child it greater needs. No, I wondered if I had been deluding myself all along. When I finally emerged from my room hours later, my parents were eating anxiously in the living room. They had prepared my favorite meal, a transparent attempt at reconciliation. I know you are upset, my father began as I silently picked at my food. But try to understand our position. Tiffany's therapist cited she as showing signs of suicidal ideation. The traditional treatments aren't working. This retreat in Bali uses innovative approaches that have helped people like her. They have renowned mental health professionals, nutrition experts, and holistic practitioners, my mother added. It is not just some spavagation. I looked up from my plate. Did you consider any other options before deciding to steal my engagement ring? They flinched at the word steal, but it as accurate. I explored every option, my father insisted. I looked into loans but at our age and it my pension, the banks wouldn't approve enough. I considered selling the house, but in this market it would have taken too long. And time as of the essence, my mother interjected. Tiffany's condition is deteriorating rapidly. Had they didn't say but had become increasingly clear as that they had not considered asking me. They had not respected me enough to involve me in a decision about my own property. They had decided that Tiffany's needs automatically outweighed my rights. The next morning, my phone rang. It asked Tiffany calling from Bali. I almost didn't answer, but some masochistic curiosity made me pick up. Audrey, her voice aspect, relaxed. This place is amazing. You would not believe the view from my private villa. Utan say the ocean and these incredible rice terraces. The food is all organic and locally sourced. I already feel so much better. Aside nothing, I think to say if she would acknowledge what had happened. Mom said you found out about the ring thing, she continued, her tone dropping slightly. I hope you are not too mad. You know how they are allies or ring about me. But this place is really going to help me get my life together. I am already working at this incredible therapist who specializes in creative blocks. Did you know they are going to sell my engagement ring? I finally asked. Not specifically, but they mentioned figuring out a way to make this happen for me. Her voice took on a familiar defensive edge. I mean, it is sad about Nathan and everything, but you have to move on something, right? It is not healthy to keep dwelling on the past. 6 months. Nathan had been gone 6 months, and my sister was telling me it estimated to move on. The ring had been in my possession for less than 8 months total. The casual cruelty of her words left me speechless. Anya, Tiffany continued, filling my silence. I should go. I have a sound healing session in 1 minutes. Love you. She hung up before I could respond. I sat there, pony in hand, wondering how I could possibly be related to someone so self-absorbed. That evening, my parents called a family meeting. They sat me down at the dining room table, faces solemn. I will come up with a solution, my father announced. I will take out a home equity loan. Once it processes next week, I will have enough to commission a replacement ring. I will already contacted several jailers, my mother added eagerly. They can create something similar, maybe even better. Nathan's partner, Marcus, might be willing to help, my father suggested. He has access to Nathan's decisions, right? I stared at them incredulous. They truly did not understand. This was not about the monetary value of the ring. It could not be replaced by a similar-looking piece created by someone else. Its value lay in the fact that Nathan had designated it, that his hands had overseen its creation, that it represented our unique relationship and shared dreams. That is not possible, I sighed quietly. Don't be stubborn, Audrey, my father sighed, frustration creeping into his voice. I are trying to make this right. You can't, I replied simply. Over the next few days, a heavy silence fell over the house. My parents alternated between defensive justifications and attempts at reconciliation. I responded with minimal politeness but remained emotionally distant. I began spending more time researching my options, making phone calls from my car or during walks to ensure privacy. Had my parents didn't realize that I myself had almost forgotten in my grief, as that I had never been the helpless doctor they not treated me as. Before Nathan's death, I had been a successful marketing executive with my own resources and connections. It estimated to remember that woman and call her back into existence. On a night after another tense family dinner, her my mother had tentatively suggested I might join Fanny for the last month of her retreat for a sisterly healing experience. I reached my breaking point, not with anger or tears, but with clarity. A lie in bed that night staring at the ceiling of my childhood bedroom and finally admitted to myself that I had been avoiding. My parents would never truly understand the magnitude of their betrayal because in their minds Tiffany's needs old allies come first. My feelings, my property, my autonomy are all secondary. In that moment of painful clarity, I made my decision. I would not remain in a situation where I was not respected or valued. I would not continue to play the role of the understanding daughter who sacrificed for the greater good of the family. For once, I would put myself first. The realization was both terrifying and liberating. By a morning, my plan was forming. The first child made us to David Hirsch, Nathan's attorney, who had been helping me navigate the complexities of his estate. I had been somewhat passive in the process so far, too grief-stricken to fully engage in the legal details. Now, I requested an urgent meeting. I need to understand exactly what assets I have access to. I explained when I met in his Manhattan office the following day. I had told my parents I was meeting a friend for lunch. David spread out a folder of documents on his desk. Nathan was more financially secure than you might have realized. In addition to his life insurance policy, which is still being processed, there are his business assets. I learned that Nathan had been more successful than his modest lifestyle suggested. His jewelry business had been growing steadily with several high-profile clients and a waiting list for custom pieces. He owned his studio Utrecht and had been in negotiations for a collaboration with a major luxury brand at the time of his death. As his fiancé and the named beneficiary in his will, you were entitled to his personal assets and a significant portion of the business, David explained. Marcus, as his business partner, will retain his share and continue operations, but you have options regarding your involvement. The next day, I met with Marcus at the studio. It was my first time returning since Nathan's death, and the familiar space filled with his tools and designs brought fresh pain but also surprising comfort. Marcus embraced me warmly. It's good to see you here, Audrey. Nathan would be pleased. I spent hours discussing the business. Marcus had been keeping things running, fulfilling existing orders, and maintaining relationships with clients. He showed me the projects Nathan had been working on before his death, including several completed pieces waiting for delivery. There is also this, Marcus sighed, unlocking a special cabinet in Nathan's office. Inside are dozens of detailed designs, some partially completed pieces, and a small red notebook. His design journal. He kept all his original concepts here before transferring them to computer renderings. I opened the journal with trembling hands, instantly recognizing Nathan's previous sketches and hurried notations. Flipping through, I found the original concept sketches for a ring, along with pages of variations and notes about the symbolism of each element. I know about the ring, Marcus sighed quietly. Your parents contacted me last month asking for details about its value for insurance purposes. I thought it as strange since Nathan had all that documentation in order. They sold it, I admitted. The words still painful to say aloud. To pay for my sister's treatment program in Bali. Marcus' expression shifted from shock to anger. Without your permission. That's theft. They forget my signature on the ownership transfer. I can fix this, he said immediately. I can contact the buyer. The jewelry community is small, especially for pieces of that caliber. I might be able to trust it. His immediate support strengthened my resolve. I spent the rest of the day making arrangements for my more active involvement in the business. Nathan had always said I had an eye for marketing luxury items and now could use those skills to help preserve his legacy. I have another favor to ask, I said before leaving. O need applies to stay in the city just temporarily. O don't go back to our apartment yet, but o need to buy from my parents a house. The studio has a small guest apartment upstairs, Marcus offered. Nathan said it hen working late. It's nothing fancy, but it's private. Over the next egg, light the groundwork for my hit. O contacted my former employer about returning to work, initially on a remote or consulting basis. O spoke it my therapist about transferring to more frequent sessions. O began quietly moving important documents and irreplaceable mementos to a storage unit rented. All the while, O maintained a calm facade at home. O participated in family dinners, nodded along to my parents' increasingly desperate attempts to make amends, and pretended to consider their suggestion of joining Tiffany in Bali once the insurance money comes through. Meanwhile, Marcus had been making inquiries about my ring. O have a lead, he told me over the phone. Elite jail at questions typically works it of specific private collectors. They are very discreet, but o have contacts. O also updated email and financial arrangements, removing my parents as beneficiaries and emergency contacts. O hadn't realized how many aspects of my life still had them in positions of authority. A legacy from a team who trusted them implicitly. Finding a permanent home all take time, but Marcus helped me secure a small apartment in Brooklyn it a 6-month lease. It as close to Nathan's studio and it in my budget hill rebuilt my career. By the end of the second act, everything as in place. O had signed the lease, transferred my essential belongings to either storage or the studio apartment, and secured a consulting contract it my former employer. O had even spoken it a liar about the theft of my ring, though my options are complicated by the fact that my parents had forget my signature on legal documents. The final piece as setting up my bank accounts, completely separate from any connections to my parents. O it tre my savings from our shared family bank here had kept an account since childhood and established ne accounts at a different institution. On my last night at my parents' house, they suggested a special dinner to celebrate our family healing process. My mother prepared all my favorite foods. My father opened an expensive bottle of wine. They are trying so hard in their right to repair that they had broken it without actually acknowledging the fundamental breach of trust. I've been thinking, my father side as a at dessert, about what your side regarding the sentimental value of the ring. Perhaps instead of a replica, I could commission a completely new piece that honors Nathan's memory but also represents your journey forward. That's a wonderful idea, my mother chimed in. A fresh start but still connected to your past. I smiled and nodded. That's thoughtful. I will consider it a. They beamed at each other, relieved at what they perceived as a breakthrough. They had no idea it as actually a good be. I left before dawn the next morning. I had packed my remaining essentials in a single suitcase, loaded it into my car the night before under the pretense of organizing my closet, and slipped out while my parents slept. No dramatic confrontation, no tearful goodbye, just a letter left on the kitchen table. Mom and Dad, I'm leaving to rebuild my life on my own terms. What you did as not just a mistake or a misunderstanding. It as a fundamental betrayal of trust that has forced me to reevaluate our relationship. I need space and time to determine what, if any, relationship I can have moving forward. Please do not try to contact me. I will reach out when I am ready. Audrey E. I drove straight to New York City as the sunrose, a sense of both loss and liberation sing over me. By noon I was settling into the small apartment above Nathan's studio, surrounded by the creative energy he had left behind. It felt right to begin again in a space that honored his memory rather than tried to erase it. My parents discovered my absence around 6 that morning. The call started immediately, first concerned, then confused, then increasingly frantic as they realized I had truly left. I let them go to voicemail, listening just long enough to confirm they had found my letter. Audrey, this is ridiculous, my father's voice echoed from my phone. Running I doesn't solve anything. Call us immediately. Seteart eire orliet sick, my mother pleaded in her message. Whatever you're feeling, it's an org drog it together. That's had families do. Their messages revealed so much about how they viewed the situation. And by extension me. This isn't a running I. O as 32 years old. Establishing appropriate boundaries after a serious breach of trust. Their infantilizing language only confirmed I had made the right decision. Over the next few days, I settled into my temporary home and began reconstructing my life. I started my consulting work, reconnected with friends in the city, and spent time at the studio with Marcus, learning more about Nathan's business and how I might contribute to its future. Marcus had continued his search for my ring. I confirmed it as purchased by a private collector named Richard Keller, he told me. He specializes in unique pieces with interesting provenances. The goodness is he's a legitimate collector, not someone who old break it down for parts. Then I contacted him. I asked how pricing for the first time. I'm working on it he's very private, but I have a mutual contact trying to arrange an introduction. Meanwhile, my parents had progressed from leaving voicemails to sending texts, emails, and eventually having friends reach out on their behalf. I maintained my silence, focusing instead on rebuilding my strength and independence. Tiffany called 2 weeks after I left, her voice sharp with indignation. What are you doing to mom and dad? They're absolute wrecks. Dad's blood pressure is through the roof, and mom's an hardly sleep. I'm taking care of myself, I replied calmly, breaking my silence for the first time. Something I should have done sooner. By abandoning your family. God, Audrey, it's just a ring. They are trying to help me. It isn't theirs to give. And this isn't about the ring anymore. It's about respect and boundaries. She scoffed. Your allies are selfish underneath that perfect Dr. Arzt. Some of us have real problems, you know. I ended the call without responding to that biting comment. In the past, I would have absorbed her accusation, questioned myself, tried to make peace. Not anymore. Working with Nathan's attorney, who formally reported the fraud committed by my parents in selling the ring. I wasn't seeking criminal charges, but I needed the legal resort to help recover the piece if possible. This led to my parents receiving an official notice from my attorney explaining the potential legal consequences of their actions. Their response as a flood of panicked messages moving from indignation to fear as they realized the seriousness of what they had done. My father left a particularly revealing voicemail. Audrey involving liars is completely unnecessary. I are a family. I can resolve this privately. Think about what this could do to our reputation, to your sister's recovery. Please call us so I can fix this the right eye. Still centered on appearances, on Tiffany, on the family as an entity that superseded my individual rights. They still didn't understand. A month after my departure, Marcus finally made contact with Richard Keller, the collector who had purchased my ring. After explaining the situation, Keller agreed to meet with us. I collect pieces with stories, he explained when I met in his Manhattan office. He purchased this ring, was told it as being sold by the original owner who needed to move on after a tragedy. Had known it as sold fraudulently, never would have bought it. He examined the documentation I provided, including Nathan's original designs and photos of me wearing the ring. Said the problem. Legally, purchased the ring in good faith, but ethically, it belongs to you. My heart leapt. Are you willing to sell it back? For the original purchase price, yes. I wouldn't feel like profiting from this situation. However, I paid 575,000. Do you have access to that amount? It is a devastating question. I had some money from Nathan's estate and my own savings, but nowhere near that sum. The insurance payout is still being processed, tied up in standard investigations that follow any sudden death. Not immediately, I admitted, but I'm working on it. Keller nodded thoughtfully. I respect that this ring means to you. Let me make you an offer. I'll hold the ring for 8 months. If you can raise the funds in that time, it's yours. If not, perhaps I can discuss other arrangements. It isn't ideal, but it is hope. For the first time since discovering the theft, I felt the ring might actually return to me. He returned to my apartment that evening, found a large package waiting at my door. Inside were dozens of framed family photos, mementos from my childhood, and a letter from my mother pleading for reconciliation. They had discovered my address, likely through one of our mutual connections. The boundary violation took minor compared to their original betrayal, reinforced my decision to keep my distance. 2 months after my departure, my parents finally seemed to understand I wasn't coming back on their terms. Their messages shifted from demands and guilt trips to more reflective apologies, talk still lacking true understanding of the damage they had caused. I never meant to hurt you, my father wrote in an email. I thought I were making the best decision for everyone. I were wrong, and I were truly sorry. It has progress, but not enough. 6 years of therapy had taught me to recognize the difference between genuine accountability and projecting words meant to restore comfort without addressing underlying issues. Meanwhile, Tiffany had completed her 3rd month at the Bali retreat and as, according to my parents, making a remarkable progress. I wondered had that actually meant given the pattern of temporary improvements followed by inevitable relapses that had characterized her entire adult life. As summer turned to fall, I continued rebuilding my life. I moved from the studio apartment to my new place in Brooklyn. I transitioned from consulting to a full-time position at my former employer. I spent weekends at the studio at Marge's, learning daily design basics and helping to manage the business aspects of Nathan's legacy. And I continued saving every dollar I could toward reclaiming my ring, the physical embodiment of all of it that, despite my loss, had changed me forever. 3 months after I left, the formal investigation into the fraudulent sale of my ring was completed. My parents received official notice that they had committed multiple legal violations, including forgery and selling property they did not legally own. While I had not pressed for criminal charges, the investigator made it clear that they could face serious consequences if I chose to pursue the case further. This concrete reality finally seemed to break through their justifications. My father called, his voice uncharacteristically humble. Audrey, I received the investigator's report. I never truly understood the legal implications of what I did. I thought I were just making a difficult family decision. It isn't a family decision, I replied, my voice steady. It is my ring, my property, and my choice that you took I. You relict, he said after a long pause. I don't know if you can ever forgive us, but I want to make amends. Ere prepared to do whatever it takes. It as the first genuine acknowledgement of had heard from either of them. Not excuses, not justifications about Tiffany's needs, just a simple admission of wrongdoing. The following week, Nathan's life insurance policy as finally processed. As his primary beneficiary, who received a substantial payment that combined it MA savings old allow me to buy back the ring from Richard Keller. Who contacted him immediately to arrange the transaction. Implicit the ring will be returning to its rightful owner, Keller said hen aimed again. In MA collection it would have been appreciated for its craftsmanship, but it continues its true story. Hen held the ring again for the first time, the wave of emotion as overwhelming. It wasn't just metal and stones. It was Nathan's love, his artistry, or shared dreams, all embodied in this single object. I didn't put it on my finger-rigged eye. Instead, I had Marcus create a special pendant setting so I could air it closer to my heart. Ness of the ring's recovery and the circumstances surrounding its sale began to spread through our extended family and social circle. People coincides as they inevitably do in family conflicts. Some relatives believed my parents had done what as necessary to help Tiffany. Others were appalled at the violation of trust. Friends who had known since childhood reached out, some offering support, others suggesting us being unforgiving. I learned through these conversations that my parents had initially downplayed what happened, describing it as a misunderstanding about a piece of jewelry. Only when the legal notices arrived did they begin acknowledging the true nature of their actions. Tiffany returned from Bali after 3 months instead of the planned 6. According to my cousin Sophia, who remained in contact with both of us, Tiffany had been asked to leave the retreat early after repeatedly breaking the program's rules about outside communication and substance use. Tiffany called me directly on the evening, her voice ticked with anger. Happy now? Mom and Dad are facing possible legal charges. I had to leave my treatment program and the family is completely torn apart. All because you couldn't share. This isn't about sharing, Tiffany. It's about theft and violation of trust. They are desperate to help me, she shouted. Your allies had everything to get her. Your perfect job, your perfect relationship. Even when Nathan did, you got all the sympathy and attention. For once, they put me first, and you couldn't handle it. Her perspective was so distorted, it was almost disorienting. In her version of reality, was the favorite child who couldn't bear to see attention directed elsewhere, rather than the daughter whose most precious possession had been stolen to fund yet another intervention for her sister. I hope it help you receive it in Bali as worth it, said finally. I truly do, but my relationship with Mom and Dad is separate from my relationship with you. And both need to be rebuilt on honest foundations if they are going to continue. Meanwhile, my parents had begun sending increasingly expensive gifts, desperate attempts to buy back my affection. I returned each only with a simple note. Had a need cannot be purchased. Finally, they suggested family therapy. It was the first request that indicated they might be willing to do the actual work required for reconciliation. I agreed, but only on my terms. A therapist selected, with no presence or mention of Tiffany for the first several sessions. This needed to be about the 3 of us and the specific breach of trust that had occurred. Our first session was conducted via video call as I was still unwilling to return to connectitude. The therapist Dara well as experienced in family estrangement and betrayal trauma. It liked to start by having each of you express in your own words what happened and how it affected you, she began. My mother and first still framing the situation primarily through Tiffany's needs. Ei ere desperate to help or younger daughter who has interests. Ei made a terrible mistake in how I end about it, taking something precious from Audrey without her permission. My father followed it a more direct acknowledgement.